Welcome to the Good Karma Sport Fishing Podcast. I'm your host, Captain Ryan Van Fleet. Hey guys, happy Thanksgiving. And with Thanksgiving, there typically comes a Black Friday sale, but not with Good Karma Sport Fishing. Starting on December 1st, all the courses that I offer for sale at goodkarmafishingtackle.com, the prices go up starting December 1st. Why? Because each one of them contains nuggets. Nuggets elevate you very quickly, okay? The guys that really understand nuggets and getting that one piece of information, those of you that do, get it. Those of you that don't, you will eventually. But one nugget elevates you quickly. It's like that in any type of business. Sales, real estate. Why is that one guy selling more houses than the other guy? He has something. He has something. And that's the guy that you want to learn from, and he might drop you a nugget over time that will help you. But with that comes trust, development, and all that good stuff, okay? So those are nuggets. Nuggets exist everywhere. They exist everywhere. In your job, like guys are in sales, hustling right now. Nuggets, and more nuggets. That's what they are. They're gold nuggets, okay? In my spot fish finding course, I give you a golden nugget, okay? For muttons and groupers. There you go. So December 1st, all my course prices go up. Guys, let's talk about outriggers and Wahoo fishing. Don't do it unless you have a tagline system, okay? So I'm just going to leave it at that. That's something that I'm teaching in my Good Karma Sport Fishing rigging crew here over the next month or two. So in the crew right now, I'm putting out little videos now. I'm teaching them how to rig a better ballyhoo for Wahoo fishing. So that's one thing that's in there now. Last month I put out a video for them on how to make a better ballyhoo rig, what I'm currently doing. Okay, what I'm currently doing. And we're also evaluating satellite imaging, okay? So satellite imaging is very hard to decipher, okay? But with myself and a couple other guys, we're able to be out there every day, okay? Most every other day. If I'm not able to be there, another guy is able to be there. So what we're doing is we're putting together correlations versus what we're seeing versus the satellite imaging that we're using. So I'm not going to share what satellite imaging we're using, so because that's for the Good Karma Sport Fishing rigging crew, and we're learning based on what we're doing is we're working as a team to come up with imaging and where fish are. And then that's what we're doing in there. So we have the ability to share that information in that group because the group is very, I have strict standards in the group of who gets in there and who doesn't now. And it's just what we're doing. And we're making sense of the satellite stuff. So, which is really, really working very, very well. So that's the type of stuff that we're doing in the group. And we also have the Marco Polo chats, so we're doing live updates when we're catching fish, what's happening out there, what lures we're using to catch fish. The group is very open, and the guys are keeping it tight-knit within the group, which is something, like I said, the community is very tight because I want like-minded guys in there, okay? So the rule number one is ego kills talent in the group, so that's the big thing. So if you're interested in taking it to the next level, I have really, really worked on developing the crew more now than ever. And it's awesome. I've got some great stuff planned for them. We're going to continue on with the satellite imaging. That's our long-term project. Something that's really hard to get a hold of because a lot of guys aren't going to share it. And we're working together to share what we see based on outings. Hell, I'll even run the boat out there and take a look and see what I got one day and see what kind of color imaging I have versus what the charts are reading. So that's something that we have the privilege to do because we live, most of the guys are down here. We have our boats in the water and we can just run out to the reef and see what we got. So if you're interested in getting involved, you can email me at goodkarmaryan@gmail.com. The cost for joining the crew is $49 a month. You must go through the screening process before I allow you into the group. We meet once a month. We have a Marco Polo chat for real-time fishing reports. I went out yesterday. I did a real-time report on the Patrice, what we had out there. what I do in my stories is delayed, and all my fishing, I won't post any more real fishing reports through Instagram. Too many guys looking for freebies and not willing to do the work, and are just sitting back waiting to come down when the bite's good. So I'm not going to do that anymore. So just saying, it's the world of Instagram is, and how guys are using it to get in on the bite and jump down the next day. Sorry, no more. So I appreciate all you guys that listen to the podcast. So hence why I'm still doing the podcast. I'm going to talk to you guys about outriggers and wahoo fishing. I do not yet like to use outriggers for wahoo fishing because it creates drop back. I want to hook that fish right when he bites, okay? So when you are using just a standard outrigger system, it does create drop back. The fish does not get hooked most of the time. You miss a lot of fish out of the outriggers when you're using just a standard outrigger setup. Now, if you want to do tag lines, you know, you can develop it. You can Google tag lines and stuff. And that's something I'm doing in the Good Karma rigging crew, is that we're going to do a little bit of tag line stuff. And so there's a lot of secrets to making those work. So, but if you're really wanting to like improve your hookups with wahoo and you're running stuff from the outriggers, I would highly suggest that you quit doing that. Use some side winders, I call them side outriggers, just those poles that stick into your gunnels. Put them in there. I like to use those from time to time, but the quality that I'm seeing, and they get bent up, and I just don't really like to use those much. So typically what I'm doing right now, I'm just running a two spread system. You know, I run my downriggers off the planers because there's so much weed from day to day, and the wire slices through them, and it's just easier to do for me as a charter boat captain. And you know, I run electric downriggers. I've got a system set up, and I've been doing it for years. I'm very quick. Now, if you want to learn how I run my downriggers, you can buy the Wahoo Slayer series course that's available through goodkarmafishingtackle.com. Okay, so when you guys planer fish, you guys see that those guys get hooked up right away, right? I mean, they typically, when you fish planers, you don't miss much. It's a solid hookup. It goes right from that planer to the planer to the main line to your leader line that hooks them. So there's no slack. Okay, there's no slack, and that Dacron in between that bridle system actually helps set the hook. I don't know if a lot of you guys know that, but it actually helps set them. It helps drive the hook home. It reduces the shock between your mono and your fluorocarbon leader. Okay, it reduces that. So you have that bridle system in there, and when that fish eats, it drives that hook home because there's literally no shock. Okay, the only shock that you're feeling there is off your rod tip. Okay, so now when you have a rod tip that is designed for planer fishing, that's what really absorbs the shock, and a little bit of mono in there, so it helps. But the trick is not to have too much mono in there. So like I said, that's another thing, is that so with mono, typically you want to run like 100 foot to 120 to 150 max of your mono when you're running your planer off your main line. And then you have your Dacron in between, and then you have your fluorocarbon leader. So when the fish eats it, you're going to have a little, like I said, you got your shock coming off that's why you have that flexi rod, because that helps absorb the shock. Okay, so but when you guys watch those guys planer fish, you see that they don't miss very many, and like that planer actually helps set the hook when the fish eats it. That bridle system in between your mono and your fluorocarbon, it actually helps. It really does. So there's no shock. I mean, that you have that Dacron in between your mono and your fluorocarbon, and then it doesn't get transferred through. So it actually helps drive that hook home. That's just my take on it. Again, there's lots of takes on things, and there is no right and there is no wrong, because all you gotta do is just look at the physics of things, and I'm just telling you. So that's the way I look at things. And when somebody tells you something like you got to use this at this time and all this stuff, hey, I'm going to tell you guys something, a little story here. I have some clients that were in town, and they listen to the podcast, and they've got some really good basics, and they fish with me a couple times. This was their second time fishing with me. They took me for 2 days, and they requested no wahoo fishing because they're staying down here, and because they've already caught a couple wahoo. So they were like, yeah, we just want to bottom fish and learn a little bit more, and they're super cool people. So as we were going out, said, yeah, we got a 70-pound wahoo. And I started laughing, and I was like, that's badass, man. I got it last Sunday. They just went out and started trolling the ledges, just like I've taught them. Just like they've listened to the podcast, doing the zigzags. And they caught a 70-pounder. And it was on a crazy-looking lure. And that's something that I shared in the rigging group, because now they just added another lure to their arsenal. So it just goes to show you. And yeah, the hooks were all bent up, and oh my god, we looked at the hooks in depth, and the hooks were all fucking tore up. I was like, oh my god, how the hell did that fish stay in the boat? But yeah, so it just goes to show you, 70 pounds. That thing was a monster, and they just went out to enjoy the day. Okay, so I'm gonna leave you guys with this, guys. When you go fishing, sometimes it's just best to go fishing, okay? It always helps when you look at the tides. Here's the basics. You look at the tides, go back to my blog, put together a bite scenario. If you haven't read my blogs yet, you need to. Just get the basics, okay? And then before you go, you put together a bite scenario, okay? Which they did. They kind of knew when things were going to happen. And they picked their best times, and they made the most out of it, and they caught fish. It doesn't need to be complicated, okay? Especially if you're a recreational angler. You can pick the best times to go out there and go fishing. You can pick when you go home. You can pick how many fish you need to catch. And don't, oh my God, I see a lot of guys trying to play charter boat captain. The last thing you guys want to do is play charter boat captain. Trust me. You guys don't want to put yourselves in that scenario. You want to put yourselves in a scenario where you go to have fun. Okay? Because that's when things are going to happen. That's when the nuggets are going to come. That's when things are going to start working in your brains. You go back, you put together a little bite scenario, you go out there, you have a little plan, and then, yeah, if you don't catch anything, you don't. But if you learned one thing while you're out there, that's even better. Okay? Because that's like catching something. Okay? Man, I go out there. When I go out there, I went recreational fishing yesterday to go patry fishing. And my main goal was to go out there and load up on some ballyhoo. And I learned something yesterday because my brain was open. I seen something I'd never seen. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I hope you guys have an awesome Thanksgiving. And if you're looking to book a trip with me, you can, for December, you need to email me at goodkarmaryan@gmail.com. I have some scattered weekday dates available. If you're coming down over Christmas, you need to get those dates in now. I have a few dates left open during the week. Weekends are booked already in December. December, I don't know. I'm going to be I'm patry fishing for sure. I love the patry fish. I love the target muttons on the patries. All sorts of snappers on light tackle. We're doing black groupers again, muttons, of course. When the conditions are right, I might wahoo fish, do some tuna fishing. Occasionally, we're catching some dolphin that jump on. Sailfish are going to be here. The kingfish, bycatch, they like to get mixed in. Spanish mackerel in the Gulf, cobias in the Gulf. If you guys are into that, I don't get into that, but that they're biting out there now. And yeah, maybe some mangrove snappers. I don't know. We'll just see what bites. Yellowtails through the end of I do that while I'm grouper fishing, just to catch some fish. But after December 1st, the only time I will be setting the hook along the reef is to I'm not setting the hook after December 1st on the reef because I do not yellowtail fish hardcore during the months of December, January, February. And then I start up again in March for big tails again. And yeah, then that kind of grows in. I don't put any baits on the bottom because grouper season's closed, okay? Grouper season's closed at the on January 1. It's all done, okay? So, but in on the patch reefs, I'm catching lots of nice yellowtails and stuff, and then on nice days, we're outside the reef when it's calm, we're doing the other stuff. So just to give you guys a little FYI of what's happening. And you can follow me on Instagram, Good Karma Sport Fishing _FL_keys. Check out my courses. Make sure you guys get the courses before the prices go up on December 1st. Listen closely for the nuggets. Oh, and I often get asked about sinkers and where I buy sinkers and the price of sinkers and all that good stuff. So here's who I buy them from, okay? I get them from Tim at Lead Specialties. So here's his number. The guy offers amazing customer service. I literally order sinkers I order them in bulk, but I think he does them in smaller amounts. And he also has jig heads. He makes all the yellowtail jigs that you guys buy in the stores, the lead heads for patch reef fishing. So here's Tim's number. So you need to give Tim a call. Again, he does not sponsor me, and the only reason why I'm sharing this with you guys is because he is awesome. He is awesome. And I know you guys are constantly asking me about sinkers and all that stuff. So here it is, 954-292-1797. Again, that's Tim with Lead Specialties. He's on Instagram, but this is the guy that I recommend. I'm buying from him right now. I order my sinkers in bulk. He has everything. Just ask him. He's got lead heads for sea witches. He makes a lot of deep drop sticks, a whole bunch of stuff, and you can't beat the prices. So you got to skip the retail and go right to the wholesale guy. This is the guy. Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you want to book a trip, December or January, email me at goodkarmaryan@gmail.com. Purchase the courses, support the Good Karma Sport Fishing Podcast. I know a lot of you guys have been listening for years, but I really appreciate your support. Email me about the rigging crew. Follow me on Instagram, Good Karma Sport Fishing _FL_keys. Thank you for tuning in, and remember, anytime you're fishing, it's all good. Happy Thanksgiving!